What's up, Canes fans? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast powered by Anijar and Levine Accident Attorneys. A lot of news, university-wise, football-wise, it is popping off. You have a new president at the University of Miami, Joe Echeverria. We'll talk about that and its impact on Miami athletics, which is a big one. Also, we'll talk about a loaded visitor weekend this week and see who Miami could be going closer to a commitment with of these names and some names to watch. Also have a great interview with University of Miami student athlete Deryc Plazz on behalf of Canes Connection. Really enjoyed sitting down with him. Very, very smart, engaging kid. He's going to be a big player here at the University of Miami. First, I want to talk about some big players in the legal community, Anijar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anijar and Levine. They don't get paid until you get paid. So Pete, jump in here as the only alum in this crew here. This impacts you probably more than me, although I guess my wife works at now, so I got to think about that. I'm gonna ask Joe for some more money. But Julio Frank moves on to be chancellor at UCLA. Joe Echeverria, who is the CEO of Miami, now is the president, the acting president of the University of Miami. Just some background here, Pete, while you pull up the graphic. Joe Echeverria made his name at Deloitte as a consultant, a major multinational consulting company. Many of us have worked with them in our businesses. He was the CEO at one point of Deloitte, goes to the University of Miami board, eventually rises to CEO of UHealth, which is the health system attached to the University of Miami, then becomes the CEO of the entire university, now the acting president. What does this mean for football? Well, football, when it needed a new head coach and wanted to get rid of Manny Diaz, it leaned on two people: Rudy Fernandez, who follows CanesInsight on Twitter and is a huge sports fan, and Joe Echeverria, who at that time was CEO of UHealth. The success of UHealth brought the money in that allowed Miami to spend all the money that you're seeing on college athletics. It was because of UHealth and the success they've had as a business run by Joe Echeverria. So he spearheaded the charge for Mario to be hired. Not just hiring Mario, but spending the money needed to take the program to the next level. He was right at the front of that. Manny Kadra, who was also involved in that, is now the newly minted head of the board of directors. So you have two people directly involved in this reinvestment in Miami athletics who are now running the show on the board of trustees, I should say, I'm sorry, of the University of Miami, not board of directors, board of trustees, and as the president. So Pete, you're an alum. What do you see with this whole move?
Yeah, I was there from 2012 to 2016, and I had Donna Shalala, and obviously Donna for sports was very maligned, and I think deservedly so. She just didn't care about sports. And when Julio Frank came in, right, I think with him, at least you could say he let the people who cared about sports run sports and kind of stay out of their way, right? So in that respect, I don't want to say that losing him's a big loss in that respect, but school-wise, when I was in school, it was a top 45 school in the country, and I mean they've dropped all the way down the rankings now with Julio Frank in charge. So I would hope that they can kind of get things together on the academic side there. Of course, most of the people who are listening to the show only care about the athletic ramifications here. But you said it, and you see here from the graphic from Canes Insider, really, really well done graphic here. And from my knowledge of Mr. Echeverria here, he really is a big sports fan. And you see it here. He's a big Dolphins fan as well. So look, not saying the guy has to come in and be some sort of athletic director type or anything like that. We have the people who are running that on the athletic side of things, but someone who understands the business side and the importance of being good in athletics, a guy who wants to be good in athletics, right? Because again, Julio Frank probably did understand the potential benefit if the athletics department was doing an incredible job. But to me, having someone who actually really does himself care about it makes all the difference in the world. So again, he's going to be the acting man in charge right now. We'll see. I'm not sure if this is a long-term thing for him or just in the time being, but congratulations to Joe Echeverria. And again, like I said, let's get those school rankings back up, man.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And listen, Alignment is a big term when you talk about college athletics. The person who led the charge to reinvest in college athletics, was directly involved in the process, is now the president. Manny Cadre, who was also directly involved in the process, is now the head of the board of trustees.
They were using his plane to go get Mario.
Right. And now you have Mario and Radikovich making big salaries. So you have total alignment from top to bottom, guys that have been business oriented, really public. Julio Frank's not a business person. He's from the public health side of things. So you have business on top with Echeverria, business at the head of the board of trustees with Cadre. Both of those guys have made the link between football and money and what it means to the university to be good at sports and why it's worth the money. So to me, in this new age of college athletics, that's what you want. Alignment, people that know about money, people know how to make money, people that know how to allocate money properly, people know how to invest in the right horses, and who believe in the future of Miami athletics, particularly Miami football. So I think from a Miami football standpoint, very good news for the university that Echeverria, at least for now, is in charge. So switching gears to the future of football, which is going to be the recruits on campus this weekend. And it is a loaded visit weekend. And we will just go one by one, get you the names of the folks who will be visiting this weekend officially the University of Miami, starting with the headliner, the name that we always talk about as a premium target, that is DJ Pickett, the number 7 overall player in the nation. Listed at 6'4", 180. He might be bigger than that. Multi-sport athlete, track, baseball, basketball, runs in the 10.5s as a high on terms of the 100 meters. So you're talking about elite speed. District champ in the 100 meter, the 200 meter. Actually, sorry, 10.6 is his personal best. So still flying, 21.6 in the 200, 22.7 in the long. I mean, this guy's an extremely explosive athlete, plays receiver. You see in the highlights, plays defensive back. Miami likes him as a cornerback. LSU, Clemson, Oregon, Georgia, all in the mix there. All have had their moments with him. But I believe if Miami performs on the field, have a good visit this weekend, Miami will be the favorite for DJ Pickett. He has major family ties. His cousin, Booker Pickett, just arrived on campus as a signee in the 2023 class. The 2024 class. So a lot of ties to Miami. Miami has a huge need for that premier elite corner. DJ Pickett fits the bill to perfection. Pete, what do you see when you watch this freak?
I mean, this is a day one potential starter, day one impact guy, I believe. And I think he might have been able to crack the lineup for the Canes this year if he was on the roster. But no, you see the offensive highlights as well, because look, you get these big corners sometimes. And I mean, look, a lot of them can run and they have, the length to do a lot of different things, but seeing him on offense here is very, very impressive at that size.
Yeah. And we need guys that can do more than just cover. I want athletes. We want guys that can cover, that can return kicks, that can play other sports, that can run. That's DJ Pickett. So,
and he looks like the body type doesn't, a lot of times with these bigger defensive backs, right? You say, well, he'll grow into a linebacker down the line. That does not look like the case here. He looks like a guy who will probably stay at defensive back.
No, I'm with you 100%. And the speed,
yeah,
that speed, he's faster than anybody on our roster right now at the defensive back position, day one. Switching to another freak of nature who is a top 25 overall player in the nation, that is Dallas Wilson out of Tampa. So similar area, basically driving distance of each other, about 15-minute drive, I believe, from place to place. 6'3", 195, 24th in the nation overall player, number 5 receiver. Played for Team Raw Miami. We've had Coach Duaso on the show. I actually was up there this past weekend to see Dallas and that team at the OT7 finals. You can see the size on Wilson, maybe not the polished route runner of a Jamie French or some other guys, but somebody who physically looks different. 6'3", 195. He's a thoroughbred. He's one of these wild horses. They just got to bring him in, coach him up on some of the nuances of route running, et cetera. But the speed, the explosiveness, just the general athletic ability and the size is hard to teach, which is why he is a top 25 player in the nation. Florida, FSU, and then Oregon, where he's currently committed to. But Miami is firmly in the mix for Dallas Wilson and is making a serious push to land his services. Pete, what do you see with him?
I mean, look, probably a guy who right off the bat is a specialized player, deep balls, red zone player, but the physical ability is obviously there. And I mean, look, Miami now has Isaiah Horton on this roster, and Sam Brown also has, he's not a 6'4" receiver, but I think plays like a bigger guy, right? So you need to continue to stack these different sorts of receivers on the roster, right? You can't just have one or two of the same type of guy. And I think Wilson would be that freak of nature that they're looking for.
No question. So major target, and Miami's got a lot of interest in him and vice versa, even though he's committed to Oregon. That's a very flimsy commitment. Switching gears to Myron Charles from Port Charlotte, Florida, on the west coast of Florida. So we're talking a lot of west coast of Florida kids here, kids in the same general area. 6'4", 295, defensive tackle, 126 nationally, 14th defensive lineman in the nation. We saw him up close in camp. Body type wasn't outstanding as far as, he's got a lot of work to do, I think, in the weight room, but he's a naturally big kid, has some twitch. You can see from the film why teams are so hot on him, including Florida State, who has been considered the favorite for a while. His ability to get upfield and make plays in the backfield at decent size makes him a very coveted 3-technique tackle.
Yeah, and look, we've been talking a lot about this position recently. They've obviously been bringing a bunch of different guys in, and with him, I agree with you. The body type, when we saw it in person, needs some work, but he's still a high school kid. I don't think he's that far off, and you see him playing some end here. I think ultimately he's an interior guy for them, but again, another interior lineman, which you just can't have enough of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't grow on trees, which is why everybody's going to get him. Another guy, Leslie, before we get to him, going back to South Florida, we've been on the Southwest Florida tip, and we're going to go back to it. But Chris Ewald out of Chaminade, very familiar program, cornerback. He's listed at 6 foot 165. I think he's bigger than that based on my eye test when I saw him at camps. Wonder what the updated number is there. 169th ranked player in the country, 21st ranked cornerback, 4-star player. Georgia and Miami are his 2 official visits. That's good company for that position, certainly, and any position on the defensive side of the ball. I think Miami's got a lot of momentum. Him being a commit originally his career, but it's flipped. So, I think this guy is a long corner, similar to kind of like a DJ Ivy, but more ball skills in the high school level. Highly rated guy, has played against great competition, was in practice against Joe Trader, Jeremiah Smith. Different, I personally, I want to get us to get back to more of the 2-sport athletic kind of running, those type of corners, but there's always a place for a guy like Chris Ewald, who's a proven corner, who has experience at the position against the very best and brings some length to the table. Yeah,
we saw him at the Under Armour Camp D, and I remember you pointing him out to me, and he definitely looked bigger than 6 foot 165, right? And again, Chaminade Madonna, you've got to go in there every year and get 1 or 2 of their best players every year. So I think he fits that bill.
Yep, 100%. And let's go back. I said we're going to go back to the west coast of Florida. We're back with Gerard Pringle, a running back commit to Miami. So this is one of the committed players to the Hurricanes and something that Miami absolutely loves. They saw him in spring, and they already had him committed, but he went even higher on the internal board after seeing him. They think this guy can be the only back in the class, and they'd be happy about it because he is a big-time player. Listed at 5'10", 182. He'll get bigger. He's strong. He breaks a lot of tackles at the high school level. North-south type of runner, but the thing that makes him unique is being a north-south productive runner for Armwood in the Tampa area. Seffner, 10.83 speed. So he's tough. He gets upfield. He produces, and he has that 10.8 speed to take it to the house. He'll be 5'10", 195. He'll have more than enough size. Maybe get to 200 potentially without losing his speed. The other school after him, Alabama. Although he is firm in his commitment to Miami, Miami is very firm in their commitment to him. They love him. 4-star player, 215th in the country. But again, when Alabama's coming after you, you're a pretty good back. And I think Gerard Pringle, he's rated as a top 10 back on 247. Miami certainly has him in that elite category based on their internal evaluation of the player.
Yeah, look, everyone's excited about Chris Johnson's speed at the position, but you need to continue to add these guys to the backfield. Look, Damian Martinez, we don't expect him to be here next year, but Mark Fletcher will still have another year. Jordan Lyle has obviously had some good early returns. So I think it also says a lot that as of right now, it looks like he'll probably be the only back in the class as well. So that, to me, really shows how confident they are in his abilities.
Yeah, and look, Chris Johnson is probably Chris Johnson is a class of his own as far as speed. 10.8 is flying. That's 4.4 speed all day, maybe 4.3. Chris Johnson's like 10.2, so 10.3. So he's at a whole different speed caliber than anybody really in the country. But I would say Pringle is more gritty coming out of high school, more of a proven physical runner, certainly as a junior. Chris Johnson made a big leap from junior to senior. Pringle as a junior made that leap and was a really, really productive player for Armwood. Breaks a lot of tackles, physical, just a true running back that happens to have speed. Chris Johnson is still becoming that over time. I think Pringle's a little further along, again, just from that kind of grit and toughness standpoint as a speed back. Switching gears to a potential blocker for these players that we're talking about, that is Max Buchanan, interior offensive lineman from Seminole and Sanford, Florida. So they're getting closer to Central Florida. Clemson, Florida State, Penn State, UCF on him. 6'4", 275. I saw him in person during spring. Really good-looking kid. He can play center, but I think he could easily play guard or even tackle if you need him to. He looks every bit of 6'4" and a lean 275. So he's not giant, but he's definitely not small. He has good body type. He has a strong body type, athletic, what you want, really. And then the way he plays, the physicality, the functional athleticism. There's a reason why schools like Clemson are trying to come down and grab him. Penn State. I mean, those schools that no offensive line. Florida State has a good offensive line this year, and Miami, obviously, we know that they're an offensive line centered program. Big grade on Max Buchanan.
D, has Miami landed anyone out of Sanford Seminole since Ray Armstrong and Dyron Dye? Remember the good old Sanford trio with Andre DeBose rounding it out there?
Yeah, no, I don't believe they have. It's a tricky area. We got Malik Bryant from Orlando, but it's not like an area that we've been killing it with. Jaden Wilkerson from Edgewater, but that Orlando, Kissimmee, Sanford area, Popka, has not been too kind to the Hurricanes, but they're trying to make some waves in it lately.
Definitely. I'm watching it here, and I mean, he looks pretty technically sound for this age, for sure. So
let's bring it back here to South Florida with another player that played with Team Raw. Coach Duasso played with Dallas Wilson. I saw him this past weekend as well. That is Amari Wallace, 278th ranked player in the nation, 4-star player, 5'10", 172. Listed as a kind of defensive back, right? He could play safety. He's gotten some comparisons to Cam Kitchens, both from Duasso and national writers like Andrew Ivins, I believe, also made that comp. I wouldn't go there. I think he's probably less. He's not as big as Cam Kitchens. Cam wasn't huge, but Wallace is maybe a little bit smaller. But Wallace does have similar ball hawking, similar physicality and IQ and passion for the game. And I think he has more as far as coverage ability. He's not fast like you'd put him at outside corner. I don't think he's a 4-4 guy, but you put him at nickel. He's so instinctive. He's so quick that I think he can make some plays at that position just because of the instinctiveness and the physicality. Again, classic Dade County guy that these kind of guys go to Louisville and they make all conference and they go pro and you say, what happened? This is a highly rated player. Miami is trying to keep him, but he kind of fits that mold of just undersized, not a traditional track star, but makes a ton of plays, very physical, and has versatility because of his IQ and it's just his overall football ability. Multi-year starter, multi-year impact player for a team in Central that wins the state championship every year.
Yeah, and he seems like a guy that would fit perfectly in Lance Guidry's defense, a guy that he would love to coach, I'm sure. And you said it, the way that Mario is recruiting, obviously with a more national and less of just a South Florida approach, right? And you still have to get the best football players from this area, and Amari Wallace is right up there when it comes to South Florida.
Yeah, Miami and Louisville. I mentioned he's like a Louisville kind of guy before. I didn't realize that Louisville's actually on him. So he's the kind of guy that when he leaves, he always ends up making – this kind of guy leaves and ends up making a name for himself. We got to keep these guys home. Amari Wallace, Miami trying to keep him home. Last but not least, going back to the interior offensive line, Isaac Sowles. They call him Spike Sowles from Louisville, Kentucky. Speaking of Louisville, 6'2", 195. His schools are the local schools, Kentucky, Louisville, but also South Carolina, NC State. 3-star player, 247 has him closer to a 4-star than the national composite, but someone that Miami internally really values a lot. They would love to pair him with either SJ Alafatuli from Las Vegas or Cortez Smith from Georgia, we talked about a couple days ago. Those three, they'd love to land 2 of those 3 guys on the interior. Spike Sowles, father played in the NFL. Just a guy that Miami really likes the way he plays. What do you see with him, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, he has a pretty stocky build, not short, but powerful. Definitely looks like an interior lineman. And I said it the other day, but it's pretty obvious that they're making a concerted effort to load up on those guys in the interior, because there's a bit of a, there's just a lot of tackles on this team right now. So you need to continue getting these guys in the interior. And you see him, he's playing some right tackle here as well. But the fact that his dad played in the league as well, you can't discount the bloodlines.
No doubt about it. So that's the list. These guys are going to be shopping at Caneswear, hopefully, and buying some gear. So if you want to get gear and look like a fresh recruit on an OV, Caneswear, caneswear.com. If you're national, you're not in Davie, Florida or South Florida. If you are, I strongly recommend you go to the store. If you're a Panthers fan, you want to start, supporting the team, continue supporting the team, jump on the bandwagon. They are winning. Caneswear.com's got you covered. All the Panthers gear, all enter Miami, Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins, you name it. Caneswear, the spot where Miami fans shop. Switching gears, we're going to be interviewing a current offensive lineman for the Miami Hurricanes. That is Deryc Plazz from the Jacksonville area, high school teammate of Jamie French, who we talked about on yesterday's show, someone who visited midweek, a top receiver. But Deryc Plazz, really talented guy. Miami got him over Penn State and NC State, two offensive line factories. Really enjoyed talking to him. Super smart, super engaging. He was like a politician. They called him the mayor of Jacksonville, and you could see why when you listen to the interview. Really, really enjoyed talking to Deryc Plazz, Canes Connection athlete. And if you want to continue to recruit that caliber of athlete, that caliber of person, CanesConnection.com, promo code CIS, sign up for Miami's official NIL collective. Again, promo code CIS, get 20% off the first month. Plus, you get access to a private insider Zoom. I'll be having one a week from today where I'm going to give you all the latest on Miami's recruits straight from the source, literally hours before we jump on the call. Get your questions answered. Anything you've ever wondered about the Canes, we'll give you the inside, non-public, straight from the source viewpoint and information for Canes Connection members, those who are supporting Miami's official NIL collective and who are part of the solution. Sign up today, promo code CIS. So with that, Deryc Plazz. We are here with Canes Connection athlete, Miami Hurricane offensive lineman, Deryc Plazz. Deryc, how you doing?
I'm doing good today. How are you?
Doing all right, man. Summer workouts, have they started yet? Are you out there grinding?
Yes, sir. We all out here grinding, getting to it every day, getting better.
Tell me, how's that going for you?
So far, it's going good. I've been able to get a lot of work in with the older guys on the things that I need to work on, getting some time with them as a group working out, but also one-on-one time with guys such as Jalen Rivers, Samson Okanola, CC, just guys like that, helping fine-tune my game. It's been great.
Are you, gaining weight? Are you losing weight in this heat? I always wonder because you're lifting, but you're also sweating a bunch too. How's that going?
I mean, right now I'm losing a few pounds so I can tone back up and make sure I put it on right. You don't want to get super big as a freshman you don't want to say you have time, but you kind of do in order to do things the right way. But right now, it's some guys that are gaining. We got all the resources to do exactly whatever it is that we need to do. Do you have a target that you're trying to hit or stay at? Right now, I'm trying to stay between 300 and 310 right now. So I'm right there at 310. So I'm just kind of chilling right now, just maintaining. Man, you're skinny looking 310. I wish I carried my weight like that. So, people know you from the highlights and maybe seeing pictures of you working out. Talk to me about Deryc behind the helmet, right? The kid from Jacksonville. What someone might not know about you? I'm not sure, honestly. Probably that I love to cook. I cook all the time, especially with maintaining weight. It's important that I eat the right things. So having our nutrition staff with Katie and Ellie and Andrea, those guys helping us put the right things in our body. So that's something I've been loving. What do you cook? I've been eating a lot of grilled chicken, salmon, a lot of vegetables, rice, different things like that. Man, usually people go to college in their first year, they're gaining weight, they're eating junk food, they're out of the house and they're eating the worst they've ever been. Sounds like you're going the other way and you're eating healthy. Yeah, I think a lot of our team right now is on their healthy tip. Everybody understands how important it is to put the right things into our body. So going around the locker room, we hear a lot of guys, I can't eat that stuff, and just really focus on hydration and fueling our bodies the right ways in order to get the best performance. It took me 20 years to learn that, so good for you. That's awesome. So in terms of your decision to come to Miami, right? You're in Jacksonville, so you're in the state, but it's not, right down the street. What made you choose the Miami Hurricanes? The culture, and I also saw the vision that the staff here put in front of me, and I believed in it. Coach Mirabal, Coach Cristobal, Pata, Bain. I feel like that's the best group of offensive line coaches in the country. I knew that those were the right guys to get me better, but also there were guys already in the room that I could look up to, such as Jay Land, Matt McCoy, Samson. It's a lot of older guys that do things the right way that I would love to be like or try to be better than. So that's just one of the reasons. It's a great place, great environment, and as Coach Cristobal told me, if a program hasn't won before, they're not going to win in the future. It has to be done before in order to reciprocate that.
Listen, you didn't just commit to Miami. When you committed to Miami, you were like the best recruiter since Cristobal. You were out there on kids constantly, saw on social media, I'm sure behind the scenes too. What made you flip that switch and say, not just, okay, I'm not just committing and telling them I'm going to come, but I'm going to try to get players to come with me?
I think it's just being here for the right reasons. I'm more so committed to the place. I mean, I was a true fan once I committed, and now I'm still a fan of the program. It's just a blessing that I get to be a part of it. So I think that's something I just played into. And I also knew that in order for us to win, again, how we have in the past, you got to have a lot of good players. So when players feel other players want them there, it just helps a little bit more.
I know it's kind of like being in the washing machine, right? With so much stuff happening at once, you're doing class, you're in workouts, you're playing football, and you don't have time to really kind of reflect. But now that you've had a little bit of time here, how is it going at the University of Miami, kind of separate from the football side?
It's going great so far. I'm just blessed that we have so many resources supplied to us in order for us to succeed. They make it really hard to fail here because everyone cares, and they put everything in front of you that you would need. So it's going great.
Have you been able to do anything outside the building and, just to sort of seeing the city or just enjoying yourself?
Yeah, we've been around different like boat trips, things like that. Coach Cristobal also does a great job of taking us on a lot of team events and then also working in the community through community service, going around to different youth parks and things, getting involved in the community.
Yeah, with Canes Connection, too, that's also been an opportunity for you to build your brand and kind of get closer to the Miami community, right?
Yeah, Canes Connection is great. They do a great job of opening us up to the city, allowing us to meet new people and just make connections throughout the city, build others' love for the youth.
Now, I saw you out there in spring. I saw you playing left tackle. Have you been strictly playing left tackle? Have you been moving around at all?
I've been moving around just a little bit, mostly on the left side, left guard, left tackle, just trying some things out. Coach Mirabal definitely believes in cross training, so I wouldn't be surprised if I were to flip to the other side sometime soon or in the future.
And you were a tackle in high school, right?
Yes.
So how's that been playing guard and tackle? Is there like a mindset shift? What's the difference between those two spots for you?
There's not really a big difference. It's maybe the physicality of the guy you're going against because DNs tend to be a little lighter and D tackles a little heavier. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same thing.
Now, look, you played at a big-time school. You were playing against big-time players. You played with big-time players. But coming here and going against guys like, the Ruben Baines of the world and even the five-star kids that you came in with, like a Marquise Lightfoot, what's that competition level been like for you?
The competition is great. So right now I'm going against all the guys that I came in with, the Booker Pickett's, the Rudolphs, the Lightfoots, the Scotts, the Cole McConaughey's, and all of those guys are different guys, but also great players already. And each day we get each other better by just competing because none of us are there yet, but we're all good. So it's just – and that's way better. These guys are way better than what I ran up against in high school. So every day is just an opportunity to get better, and I love going against all these different guys.
One thing I remember reading about you, I think it was your coach that said you're like the mayor. When it came to being in the community at high school wise, and just everybody knew you were really just kind of a leader in that way. Why do you think that was that you wanted to be somebody who didn't just do your thing and be quiet about it, but was a leader and someone that people could look at and say that's how it should be done?
I'm not sure. I think it's just a natural thing that just kind of comes. And with Canes Connection being here, it's also easy to do it at Miami because they get us involved in the community a lot.
So when it comes to your athletic background, you're an offensive lineman now, left tackle now. Did you always play football? Were you always a lineman? What was your athletic journey from where you started to where you're at now?
Well, when I was little, I played literally football. I also played like baseball, soccer. I played pretty much every sport. But I was always an offensive lineman, always a bigger kid. Not really bigger like in weight, but I was always really tall. They had me playing center in the park, things like that. Then middle school, I didn't play any football. I just played basketball. Then high school came back around, went back to the field, and just went from there.
Let's talk about your basketball game. All the offensive linemen we talk to, they all think that they're, LeBron, Kevin Garnett, whatever it is. I heard games out there. I don't know if you've been in those games yet, but talk to me about your basketball game.
No, I can't hoop, man. I suck. I was on a really good team. I went to the state championship every year, high school, except my senior because I didn't play. But I was just a guy, set screens, get rebounds, play a little defense. I couldn't really hoop for real.
See,
I was
funny.
just out there.
You were the one that actually went on a team. You're playing high school, and you actually won. The other people we interviewed, they didn't even play high school. You talk to them, they're like, "Yeah, man, I'm hitting step back threes. I'm in the post."
Yeah,
and you're the one that's humble about it.
Yeah, nah.
Have you been out there to play with your teammates at all, or not yet?
Not yet. I haven't got to it yet.
What are some of the things that you've done with your teammates, just to, whether it's official, like through the program, or just you guys having fun, to kind of get to know them a little better and really build that bond?
Oh, we hang out at each other's houses a lot. Well, their houses, because I live on campus. But like Cam Ward, he has an offensive line around him a lot of the time. He took us to multiple dinners, had us at his house for dinner, just the little things like that. And there's Cooper, a lot of the offensive line go to his house a lot. And like yesterday, we went to see Bad Boys as a team. That was crazy. Like everybody had a good time. So it's just the small things that we do that just help build connections amongst us.
You guys are in Miami for real, man. You've probably seen them.
Yeah.
Now you're here for real. When Camp took you to the steakhouse, did you get your money's worth out there? Were you really pigging out?
Yeah, for sure. We all were eating really good.
And that's important, obviously, the relationship between, quarterback and offensive line. Talk about how you've been able to, get to know not just Cam, but the folks in the quarterback room, top to bottom.
All our quarterbacks are very outgoing and great dudes, so it's easy to get behind those guys no matter who's going to be in. They just do a great job of building a relationship with the whole team. None of them are, like, reserved. Some of them carry themselves reserved, but when it comes to football, they make sure they know everyone's name. They just great leaders, and they do things the right way. So,
look, one thing I noticed watching the offensive line room is all super talented guys. You guys have different body types, different strengths and weaknesses just physically, right? You have, Markel Bell's so tall, and you got guys that are really strong. With Coach Mirabal, what's been his focus with you as far as, hey, these are what I like what you do here, and these are some things that maybe you can work on?
Just fine-tuning the little things, moving my feet faster, getting used to the college game, being able to kick differently from high school to college. It's really just a technique and knowing exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. Because like you said, everybody in the offense line room is talented, but we all are different. But if you know exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it, it's easier to have success that way. Because even if you make a mistake, you know exactly the intent of the play and things like that, so you can kind of cover it up.
What are some of the things that the coaches told you that, they liked about your game? Obviously, they like you. That's why they brought you in here. I know now they're probably focusing on what you can get better. So they're not, telling you all the stuff you do good. But obviously, recruiting, I'm sure they talked about things that they liked about you and why they thought you were such a priority.
Just the athletic ability and then opportunity to play multiple positions across the offensive line, not just be a one-dimensional guy. That's pretty much what it was. Come in and try to be something similar to Jalen Rivers.
And that's someone else from your area. Did you know him growing up at all?
I didn't know him growing up, but once I got to high school, I was aware of who he was. And as I was in high school, he began to have his success at Miami, so it's something I was watching closely.
Yeah, a guy who was very good academically and on the field. Yes. What was his reputation like when you started hearing about Jalen Rivers? What was it that made you want to kind of emulate him?
I mean, he was my mentor coming in, but then just being around him, the way he carries himself, he don't get in any trouble. He just does everything the right way, which is something that he is a great guy to look up to because obviously it shows the way he carries himself off the field is translating on the field to him having success. So it's just one of those things. If somebody's showing me exactly how it's done, there's no reason to deter from that.
Absolutely. Now, look, obviously you're just hearing you talk. I mean, you sound like a laid back guy, very smart guy, but on the field, you got that aggression kicks in. So how does that kick in for you? Is it like, how do you turn that switch on from what we're seeing now, the mayor of Jacksonville, to a guy that's trying to bury somebody?
It just I don't know. It just naturally happens. Just knowing when you touch the field, it's just an opportunity to get better. And one day is how we all hope to feed our family. So it's not something you go take for granted. Just try your hardest every day.
Now, look, you've obviously had a lot of success to this point. That's why you're here. What are some of the lessons that were instilled in you by your family as far as that allowed you to be on that path to where you are right now?
Not really nothing in football. It's just like in life, being respectful and being disciplined and then keeping God first at all times. With those three things, you'll go very far in life.
In terms of like music before games, do you listen to something to pump you up? Are you trying to mellow out? Are you trying to get hyped or no music at all?
I listen to music, but I wouldn't say anything specific. Like pretty much whatever is playing throughout the locker room, I would just listen to and chill.
What's some of the music that you like to listen to when you get to pick?
Right now it's a rapper from down south. He has an album. I've been listening to that a lot. His name is Low Shimmy, Loe Shimmy. And then I've been listening to a lot of Gunna recently too. Those guys, like, they just drop albums, and the albums are really chill, real cool albums.
Beautiful, beautiful. And do you have your major yet, or are you figuring out as far as academically where you want to go, university?
I'm in business right now. I haven't declared like whether I want to do finance, communication, anything. But right now I'm in the business school.
And what made you go down that road as far as the business side of things?
Just knowing that one day football will be over, and I know business is something that will also make a lot of money, but also some of the connections I was able to build throughout football and being at University of Miami will also tie into different business ventures.
Deryc, man, hey, I appreciate you joining us, man. Get us to know a little bit about you. I can see why they call you the mayor, man. You're smooth.